All right, guys, what is going on? It is Spherical here, and today we are back to finish off Violet Evergarden for now, at least, with a movie. Again, this is kind of I can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of referred to as a side movie, I guess. So I'm not sure whether or not it even got a theatrical release. From what I know, the movie that's coming up, and again, kind of the reason why I forgot about this one is the movie that's coming up is like the big movie, like it's kind of, I think it's literally just called Violet Evergarden the movie, right? And from what I know, apparently that's supposed to be like a direct sequel to what's already happened. Whereas this movie, you know, I don't know, I couldn't find any information on when it takes place other than the fact that it takes place at some point during the series. I'm assuming it's gonna be the same thing as the OVA, where it's like, you know, it just kind of takes place before Violet fully comes to terms with who she is and what love is and everything. You know, sometime in that area there, in the middle of the series. So beyond that, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what characters are going to be involved. If we're meeting new characters, I mean, I'm assuming we're going to be meeting new characters. Yeah, it's an hour 30. This will be, I guess, posted on Vimeo, not kept on YouTube. So for the reaction, that'll be down at Vimeo, because again, I don't really want to try and deal with editing an entire movie and putting it on YouTube. I'm not sure. Can people get away with that? I don't know. I'd have to look into it, but I'm not gonna do it because you guys don't understand how much more work it takes to edit a video or a reaction video to put on YouTube, because like some shows especially are super like stingy about copyright, and so you have to edit it a lot. So yeah, a movie would just be way too much work, and we're gonna keep it on Vimeo. Yeah, I mean, beyond that, I'm ready to get started. I guess for those of you guys who haven't seen the results of the poll, which I guess you can't unless you're a patron. I never really thought about that, but March Comes In Like a Lion won the poll, and you already know who got second, or what series got second. So we'll be starting that on Tuesday. So yeah, look forward to that. But anyways, we're still here we're not talking about that yet. We're still here for Violet Evergarden. I'm ready to start this movie, so let's get into it. Again, links down in the description, the reactions at Vimeo, and then all right, so that was the Violet Evergarden kind of side story movie, and God, this movie was phenomenal, especially for just being that kind of a side story. It I mean, I don't know. It didn't feel like too much of a side story. I mean, there's a lot of important stuff that happened, like Taylor being adopted by the Evergarden family and stuff. But such a good movie. I mean, I don't know where to start. I guess we'll talk about the two characters, in the order they were introduced. So first we have Amy, or Isabella, whatever you want to call her. First thing I want to say about her character is I love the fact that this show really emphasized the whole idea of gender roles, or yeah, gender roles, in well, I guess up until like the early 90s, where, you know, I guess, and not even, it's part gender roles and part also like political roles, I guess, but more specifically, again, the females would basically, you know, be born, they would learn to be proper, and then they would get married into a family for whatever political reason, and that's that. That's the end of the story. Of course, I'm talking for, you know, high status females. Of course, for, you know, any normal people, it would just be normal. But I love the fact that this movie showed us just that that's how it is. And honestly, I would venture to say that she's probably not happy right now, or at least she's maybe not necessarily not happy, but she's more or less just accepted the fact that this is just the way it has to be for her, whether she likes it or not. And that's just how it was, not just for females, but for males too. Again, up until, you know, under a century ago, even, that's just the way you lived your life, whether you liked it or not. There was a role that you had to fulfill, and that was that. Right? It's very different now, where you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want for the most part, depending on where you live and what culture you've grown up in. But for the most part, in most places, everything's a lot more open now, right? Which is what people have been fighting for. But But yeah, that's one of the things that really struck me towards the end. I almost feel I do feel bad for her because it's not a good thing, and that's obviously why, you know, people have strived for change in that department, is because like it sucks for her. I mean, it doesn't fit her personality at all. I mean, she was, you know, always more. Um, I mean, she said that the noble life or that the proper life doesn't really fit her, and I mean, that's just how it is. And I feel like that was partly like when we got to the end with Taylor delivering the message, or Benedict delivering the message for her. I feel like that was actually kind of important. The fact that she didn't come out and talk to Isabella. I guess it's weird calling her by, you know, not Amy, but I feel like that was significant in the sense that, like, I feel like it almost would have been bad if Taylor would have come out and they would have like hugged and had a reunion and stuff, because again, the whole point of why she left Taylor in the first place was because she was going to live a lifestyle where she could not be with Taylor, and she is still in that lifestyle right now. So I feel like that meeting would have put a thorn in things because they wouldn't be able to meet regularly. For one, they can't be sisters anymore. Like, that's just the way their life is, right? So it's kind of a tragic arc in that sense, to where, like, even though there was the nice reunion or not reunion, but the nice letter at the end where they, you know, Amy was finally able to see that Taylor remembers her and stuff, like, it still sucks to know that they will never be able to live that life together still. And again, that's one of the great parts of this movie, is it really, like, it's not necessarily all happy like it seems like it is. Like, this was for the most part a feel good movie, right? You know, they didn't get reunited, but they kind of did at the end and stuff, and now they're gonna write letters to each other and stuff. But at the same time, it you know, it's also kind of like sad. I don't know. If I find it very interesting because I literally just did a write up on for my English class like a couple weeks ago about like a whole, you know, gender role thing concerning females and stuff. That's like, just kind of why it was on my mind. But it's kind of weird that this movie came up and that was a big focus of the movie, right? So, but yeah, so again, that's, and then Taylor again, I guess she's going to be a character in the future. By the way, I had no idea that this, maybe I did know, but I don't think I realized that it was like 3 years between early in the show and late. So by the way, also, was the second half of the movie, did that take place after everything happened at the end of the series, or if before, it was just barely before that time, right? We do know that Violet did reference all of the letters that she wrote throughout the main series, so it does take place towards the end, but I'm not sure if it takes place after the whole like final 2 episodes ordeal. But it, you know, it if it doesn't have, like, it's kind of around that time regardless. So, and I guess talking about, going back to Amy, I guess, as well. It's hard to tell, but I'm wondering if maybe there was a little bit of a possible romantic vibe going on between the two of them. It's hard to say though. But I was just kind of thinking about it too. That would make it even more depressing if, like, what if like Amy did like love Violet per se. Again, this is not at all, this wasn't really stated or anything in the movie, but I'm just kind of diving into it a little bit. What if she was in love with Violet, and maybe, you know, maybe this was like a little hint towards her being gay, and that would make it even, you know, make it even more depressing because she ended up having to marry a guy in the end and live with them and stuff. And again, it kind of again reinforces the whole idea of the time period that you're born to live out your purpose, and that is it. Fuck what you want, because it doesn't matter. I don't know. That's the whole romantic thing. That's, who knows. I think it's kind of similar to the situation with the guy from the you know, the guy who was looking at stars with Violet. I can't remember his name. That was a little bit more direct, though, I feel like. Like, it was very clear that he had feelings for her. But I don't know. I kind of see the same thing here. So, but yeah, so Benedict played a big role in the movie, which I'm really glad about. I didn't even think of it until now, but he has always been a character, right? We met him pretty early on, but he never had his like defining moment in the series yet. So he was awesome in this episode. In fact, he's jumped up to like one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite. I like how matter of fact he is with everything. Like he's not like, oh, I'll help out everybody at the chance any chance I get, oh, this girl wants something. Yeah, I'll help her out. Like he clearly didn't want to help her at all at first. And even when he did, take her out to learn and stuff, he was always like, oh yeah, here you go. Put the mail in the mailbox. Let's go to the next one. Whoop-de-doo. You know what I mean? It just feels real. Like, but at the same time, he had his, his moment at the end, which, was a sad moment. So what can I say? But now we gotta wait for, well, the next movie, whenever it may be. I'm gonna quickly look and make sure that there isn't any information that's been released about it yet. So yeah, again, my big question is like, I wonder if maybe this is setting up for another arc with these two in the future, if the series does continue long enough, like past this next movie and stuff. Like especially with Taylor, because she's now sort of, Violet's adopted sister. So, let me just check if my enemy list has anything. Google doesn't give me any information. Sometimes it's hard to get updates on these kind of things. No, it just says 2020. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's been any information since the postponement. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I guess the last update was just that it was postponed indefinitely. I still hate how, like, unfortunate that whole situation is with Kyoto, obviously, with the incident last year, and then now the COVID. Just unfortunate. But what can you do? So, anyways, I think we're going to have to wrap it up there. Again, we are not done with this series. We do have at least a movie coming out sometime in the future. I'm very much looking forward to that because this series is amazing so far. And again, for a full, like, when you hear the word "the movie" in the title, like, this is gonna be big. So I'm just, my expectations are high, and hopefully they're not shattered. So yeah, that's it for today though, and for probably quite a while. If there's there's still absolutely zero news on the movie, I'm gonna assume it's probably not coming out for at least the next couple months. I probably wouldn't even say 2020, especially since things are still, the COVID's still pretty rampant right now. So I don't know. I'll talk to you guys whenever with the movie. So yeah. Until then, peace out.